And another trait that humans throughout the years, our eyebrow bridge here. Um, so I'm sure you've seen pictures of Neanderthals. They're like way out here.
Yeah, that protruding
Yeah,
brow.
the protruding.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the years, we've evolutionized to the point where our eyebrows, you know, our eyebrows
Can you smell what I'm
can
cooking?
almost define like 10 emotions in a human: puzzled, mad,
Yeah.
happy. These are things throughout time. So that allows us to socialize to a point where other animals can't do these things. They can't look. So an ape is like their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
When they look at another ape, they can't tell anything from just gazing at each other.
Yeah.
They can't tell what direction they're looking in.
Mm-hmm.
For us, we can tell who we're looking at, how we're looking at that person. You can almost sense in their eyes what they're thinking. You know how you can
Yeah.
almost sense that sometimes. So we build off of that, being that social creature,
Okay.
where a gorilla is like wearing sunglasses and showing his poker face in a sense. They're always got their poker face on. You know how hard it is for humans to show their poker face. That's why we wear shades, or we try to do that whole poker face while we're playing poker, because you can read humans.
Yeah.
We can read each other. So that allowed us to socialize with each other. It started out in the villages and in the towns, and we built and we built and we built and we built languages and barriers, and we got to the point where we're this mega species. Nothing can freaking kill us. We're in a time of a pandemic. Look how fast we're kind of making. We're turning the corner now with all the vaccines and stuff like that. It should be no time before we conquer this, right? We've landed on the moon. So that is what allowed our species to get ahead and to be where we are, right? So
Okay.
that explains kind of the whole evolution. Why our species is we're not smarter than all the animals. We're not stronger than all the animals. We have those traits that allow us to socialize and build. So we got these geniuses that come around every so many years. Your Einsteins, your Edisons. We had to get him in there because you're always bringing up Edison. But the trait that most geniuses fail to have is to be social.
Mm.
So that's why we're not all geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
Because chances are geniuses, they
don't know how to talk.
never had offspring. They weren't surrounded by a million people to be geniuses with them. They're usually sheltered individuals, introverts, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not like all mega brains. There's, 9 out of 10, I don't know, whatever the number is.
Okay.
We're those bottom feeder guys. But what we do is we take that information that Edison gave us, we take that information that Einstein gave us, and we build off of that. We're sitting in this room right now where there's a microphone. We know how the microphone works. We know how the camera works. But can me and you build that microphone? Can me and you build that computer? Hell no.
Yeah.
Right?
Not right now, no.
But as a human species together, look at the capabilities we have now.
Yeah.
And
Well, so something like this with what you're talking about building, that kind of also brings in too with becoming an entrepreneur
yeah,
and taking that leap. They always say never be the smartest person in the room, and I agree with that because if you're the smartest, that's it. Where do you go from there?
yeah,
But if you're not the smartest and you hire people that are smarter than you, you can always learn.
yeah,
You're always learning.
yeah, absolutely.
I do like that. But go on.
But so you got all that right.
I got it.
Does it click though? Do you understand where I'm going with the whole human decency thing? Has it clicked yet? You got to be a decent human being to come together to build.
Yeah.
These people didn't get anywhere being negative. Like me and you, we built the civilization, right?
Mm-hmm.
We came together
To
be
do this.
decent
Yes.
humans.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It wasn't just me trying to succeed and kicking you down.
Yeah. So we built each other up. Usually, you got bands, cover bands. Some of the greatest in the world had somebody that they took their style from,
Mm-hmm.
or they learned their style from, or it was their role model.
Yeah, a contributing factor in how they made it. Yeah.
So that would back the theory that, that even the greatest in the world at something got their ability or their information or their experience through
Mm-hmm.
somebody else prior to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the biggest part of, the question is, why be a decent human? We have to be decent humans to get to where we are.
If you want to get anywhere.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you said, you see America going backwards and being about the greed and shit like that, right? I forget which country. I want to say it was Belgium or one of these countries. Um, so, they got one of the worst jails in the world or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they put these people into this society. It's not like, okay, you're a criminal, where our jails are, you're a criminal. Chances are when you go to jail, you've learned more criminal capabilities and you're going to get out and repeat what you did.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers are crazy when you look at our numbers versus this other country. I want to say it was Belgium. I could be wrong. But because they put their criminals into situations where they're able to learn,
Mm-hmm.
they have record labels, they can go to the cinema, but they lost their freedom. They can't go anywhere, they lost their freedom. But chances are, some of the guys that are coming out of there, they have a record label. These guys can go into a studio in the jail, release music, so that when they get out, they have a path of righteousness. They have a path of positivity. They can get out and not resort to criminal activity.
Not going
again.
back to what they're doing.
We're
That's
in our
kinda
country.
cool.
We're in our country.
Yeah.
But
Most
nobody
of the people-
wants. This is our government pushing that narrative that they don't want to lose their power, so they create criminals.
Mm-hmm.
They're creating non-decent human beings, so that they can stay on top of the perch, where we're like, you know what I mean, or the bird that goes, you know what I'm saying? Though it's crazy. What's the biggest problem you would say in our country right now? I mean, we've been facing it. It's out there for everybody.
Well, besides racism?
Well, it's part of racism.
Okay. The biggest
Social
problem.
injustice.
Yeah.
Cop. The whole cop thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the
People with
news,
too
right?
much power. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, people. Like, I am not pro either side of this story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pro decent human being, if that makes sense. Okay? The news is pushing the narrative to separate us so that we're not on that same page, so that we're not that social species,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can't overthrow them, so we can't govern ourselves, so that we can't become Belgium, where I'm kind of putting that spin on it. So
Mm-hmm.
we can't get further. They're suppressing us. That news. Here's that news.
So we don't
again.
evolve.
Here's that news again. Okay. Yes, the news, and it is a social injustice.
Mm-hmm.
When you see a Caucasian cop, kill a minority, it is a social injustice, because we all know that. But there's only that one. I don't want to say there's that one, because there's slews of them.
It happens on both
But
sides.
you don't see, what you don't see in the news is the 90 whatever % of cops that are doing their job that the way that they should be doing. And again, our country has this format in place where it's never going to get better, because number one, the training of the cops. So you go over to Europe, these guys are training for 3-4 years to become cops. Most of
Really?
the cops over there don't even carry weapons.
Yeah. Isn't
Okay.
it? I think in
It's
some
all
of the places
about-
it's illegal.
It is. It's all about de-escalation.
Yeah.
Where ours is like, let's see how fast we can escalate this shit to throw that guy in jail because he's a scumbag.
Or just shoot them.
Or shoot him. Or whatever case it may be. And then the court system's in play to let that guy get off the hook while there's a family mourning.
With what you're saying with the cops and escalation, and they don't really carry guns. I read this. I don't remember where it was from. It was a year or two ago, and they said they showed a picture of police over in Europe, all brightly lit cars. You can see exactly where they are. So if you need help,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then they pan over and they show our cars, which are black, or
Yeah,
so you can't see them. And
tried to. If you notice,
their cops' outfits are all black or navy
they've
blue.
tried to hide the vehicles now. Like they have that decal on the side where you can only see it in reflection and stuff like that.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it was like the vehicle's all black, and like if you hit it with the right light, you see it says police on the side or whatever.
Ha!
But again, I'm not against cops.
They got a bad rap.
Cops, yeah. So Chris Rock has he had a stand up in that, and it kind of goes with the scenario. So when you get that one shooting, you get that injustice, you get that social injustice, you usually get that response. Oh, well, there's always got to be one bad apple, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he's like, but that only is in place for like cops. Okay, you can't be a pilot and just be that one bad apple. Oh, I feel like going flying today and crashing into a wall. The way he says, obviously, Chris Rock is like, you know. So why don't we set the standard for our cops? Like, there's no, you know, why is it that we
give so much leeway?
Yeah. So again, that's going back to why you think America is going the other way, is because they are the news and the government and all this shit is holding us down, because they don't want to see us become this ultimate species. They don't want to see us come together.
Well, and see, when you say it, like when you say that, I just think, obviously DJ's thought about his words that he's saying, but at the same time, you sit and you think, why? Why wouldn't you want? Do you know how much money, trillions, could be made? Hundreds of thousands of trillions.
Just print new money, like you always say that shit.
Well, not even that, but if we all work together, if the country, if the world, if the world just try to make everything better, can you just imagine yes, okay, I know. We need balance, we got to have poor people, we got to have rich people, blah, 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 blah. I'm starting to get tired of that whole balance thing. I understand, yes, we need it, because then we won't know what rich is. You know what? Who the fuck cares? If we're all rich and everyone's living, who cares
there's been proposals, how do we fix this problem? Give everybody a fixed income, blah, blah, blah. Again, you got the higher-ups, they will not settle for that shit. They don't want to give everybody the power. Because once we have the money and we have the riches as a total society, then that's when we see true democracy. You know what I mean? Like, that's when you see true human beings in a true form, back to surviving. What do they say? One of the top millionaires in the world can pay for all of world hunger. Did you ever hear something like that?
I think, one of the billionaires.
A small percentage of the billionaires of the world.
Well, they have to give up their money for like a couple years, and then there you go.
I don't know the analytics to it, but just the fact that they don't want to part with the money that they'll never spend. They probably won't even spend the interest on it. You know what I mean? It might float over to the next generation, or whatever. But basically, you got to be wary of power. They've always said that. You've got to be wary of power and greed.
You want to hear something funny? Last year, I solved that problem.
You solved that problem.
I solved it. Nobody wants to hear it.
How did you solve that problem?
I solved it. Okay. You want to get rid of greed? Not have to worry about racism? Not have to worry about cops doing, the bad cops doing the bad things? Everything that's going out is because people have to struggle to do what they have to do to survive for their family, to put food, clothes, a roof for their family. So here's what you do. You take money, you get rid of it. I know everybody's like, what does that mean? How the fuck are you going to get anything? Here's all you have to do. From 13, 14, we'll say maybe 15 years old, you have to work till you're 65. You have to work. Okay?
Which we pretty much already do.
You have to work. Okay? Now, so you're working. How are we getting rid of money? Because you're not getting paid in money.
So you're basically...
You want a pair of sneakers?
Putting it in the sense of like an ant army. They don't work for money.
Yeah, I
In a
guess you could
sense.
say that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you
That's
want a
basically what
pair of
you're.
sneakers? You go to the store and you get a pair of sneakers. Well, how are they going to make them? Because everybody's got to work. You've got your people that make your sneakers, make your
Yeah, you
cars,
got
make
somebody.
your video stuff. Everybody still do what you're doing,
I'm
but
sure
nobody
you're
has to
not the
pay for
first
anything.
one that's thought of this.
I think I
I'm
have
sure,
to be, dude, because
no.
that's just
I've
think
heard,
about it.
I've heard of the theory
Just
before.
I've never heard this. I'm just thinking. I was thinking about this last year, and I said it. I told my mother, and I told my stepfather. I was like, and he's like, well, what if I wanted this? Well, what if I want to? He said, what if I want to retire early? Well, then you got to at least work 25 hours a week, from 15 to 65. You can retire at 65. If you want to retire early, then you have to work 40 hours a week. You don't have to worry about money. Everybody's got a house. Everybody's got a car.
You've heard it here first.
Food,
People Forge podcast.
clothes.
Wild man, philosopher.
I fixed the problem. The world. Nobody has to worry about
But see,
greed.
that's-
There's no crime. You know why there's no crime? Because nobody's going to try to steal your shoes or your car. Because why? They have
it goes
them.
back to nobody. The people that are in power,
Oh no, they would not want to hear this.
they don't want to hear that shit. They would never in a million years. Why would they do
Because
that?
then they
because
lose
they already
power.
have all that. Yeah, well, that's the biggest thing. Is the
Nobody will
power,
have power.
followed by the dollar sign, which a lot's
I
for
just
the
hope
power.
there's the fall of the dollar. Anywhere, any monetary whatever, it's all gone. All you got to do is go to work. Holy shit!
Yep.
I solved it.
Yep.
We're all gonna be awesome.
We're all gonna be awesome.
All right.
So we're gonna go. We're gonna turn the page. I'm done with the book. It was a lot of info
It was a big book. It was
but
thick.
tell me that wasn't pretty cool.
No, it does make it is. It makes you
And
think.
There's only touched on the surface of it, okay, and I started getting into the point of there was this guy at one point in history where he started to domesticate animals. How we got dogs and cats and stuff like that.
Okay.
And you know how they breed animals, right? They breed them for their whatever
Yeah.
Whatever-
size or however they
whatever
can get the
they're
most
trying
meat.
to breed
Yeah.
for. Okay. So this guy went about domesticating animals by breeding the friendliest ones only. Started to see their tails wag. Started to see
Okay.
them
Okay.
be man's best friend and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So he kept breeding and breeding and you know, they say that you can almost do this with any animal. I mean, you see people with tigers. You see people.
You breed
Yeah,
any
so-
hatred or rage or anger out of the animal. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're saying that almost to a point in our DNA, the human DNA, we've bred these powerful money monger monsters, whether it was through teachings or whether it was through DNA, it'll never be known.
See, do you think that we've bred them? Go with your theory.
This isn't my theory.
Oh, well,
This
go with
is-
that theory. Are you sure we've bred them, or we've just bred weaker humans, and we think they're so mean?
But that's
because we're weak.
where I think this was going.
Oh, okay.
I started to kind of peel back a little bit because I didn't have enough time to get all this information. And such.
out of paper.
But ultimately, one of the friendliest, going off of what you were saying, where this herd of stupid people, weak people, right? And then you got your higher ups that are powerful, but money is pretty much what's established them.
Yeah.
And power of wherever part of
money,
government or whatever part of black market or whatever their power is that
wherever
holds
their
them
power,
in that
wherein their
power.
power lies. Yeah.
One of the friendliest animals on earth is sheep. That's why they call us sheep when you're in that.
Because it's friendly.
You're weak. You're friendly. You're weak. We're sheep.
Okay.
That's why that saying is,
Oh,
don't be a sheep.
I use it though because they're dumb and they don't quite. They just don't. They don't
That's
listen.
What
They
it
just,
is.
or they
That's what it
just
is.
Follow
They're
boldly.
dumb.
You know.
They're dumb and they're friendly.
Are they? Because I've heard sheep bite like a
Well,
bastard.
I'm just saying.
Okay,
like,
in general, gotcha.
would you rather stand in a room with a sheep or a bull? You know what I mean? Like, put it in that sense. That I'm just saying that's where they coined the phrase.
Okay. All right, I got you.
All right, moving on from all this. Man, this is gonna be the longest episode ever.
I do apologize. I did have a mishap. I hit a wrong button. there's going to be a part 2 on this episode. That's
Yeah,
why.
this is part 2. We are in part 2. I just want to touch down on this last part of human decency, and then we can do the quote.
He keeps saying it because his team didn't go to the bowl this year. They missed touchdowns. They weren't touching down nothing.
Hey, man.
It's all right. It's all right.
Did
they play good at least?
We played all right. We played mediocre like always.
Were you going, oh, he got money in his locker. That's why he didn't do that.
No. We never surpassed a certain defense. They say defense wins championships, and we've always got the shittiest defenses. And, I mean, our offense might be able to get it done, but we'll never know because the other side of the ball can't get their shit together. All right, this isn't a football podcast, and I don't want to get angry. So, I feel like the last thing we should touch down on human decency is giving. Us as humans need to give more than we need to accept.
Yes.
It's the hardest thing that we can fathom doing, but this is like a game changer.
It is.
All right. So you got people like Gates and Oprah and while on their way building this empire, they helped others build skyscrapers along the way. You know,
Did they?
You know, Oprah. You want a car. They're giving.
Yeah.
When you give to the universe usually gives back. That's usually the concept of giving.
That's that.
Well, that's law of attraction in a sense.
Yeah. The secret.
In a sense. It could be either looked at like that or karma, whatever, you know. I mean, you put bad in, you get bad out. You put good in, you get good out. I mean, who knows, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But this can relate to business, entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Growing. Here's, you know, the part of human decency that helps businesses grow, helps people succeed, helps improve us. You know, this is the stuff that this podcast is about, motivating, and I want to see everybody succeed, like you said. Why can't we all succeed and be on the same level, right?
Well, I think with what you're saying, too, at the same time, is where you decide to take that leap, you start that down that journey. But on this journey that sometimes you have to take by yourself, you get strong. Okay? Oh, I can do this. I can do this. Sometimes you get a little calloused as to what's going on. Yeah. You go out the blinders up.
Well, there's the guys that see the goal, go for the goal, don't care who they hurt on the way there.
Yes.
They don't realize that these people on the other flip side are actually human beings. They're just using them as pawns to get to where they need to go.
Stepping stool.
I mean, there are assholes like that get very far in life because they have no attachments. They have no, no human decency. But do you want to work for that guy? Or do you want to go work for the guy that's going to give back? He's going to give back not only when you step in and work that day, he's going to look at you and say, hey, man, what's bothering you? Is something wrong? Somebody that actually genuinely cares about you. Would you rather work for that guy? Or would you rather work for the asshole, that's just his goal is to make that money? I mean, bless the guy, whatever. He had the gall to be that way, whatever got him success, but down the road, the human decency is gonna bite him in the ass. Someone not having that decency is gonna bite him in the ass somewhere.
I think a good role model or a good person that people should be looking towards or looking at and try to take from the way he is Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Oh, that.
I mean that's.
I don't
not to try to get anywhere with it, but he's
what's the story when he gets the money from his movies and he
made so much money from the first Matrix.
Yeah.
That he gave everybody that made the movie, he gave them all $1 million, and he still had plenty. I don't know if he did that with the second and the third one, and there's talk he's going to come out in a fourth one.
Yeah.
But just the way he acts is, he made his money.
Another guy that catches the bus in the subway when he
helped out
like that. Yeah.
So he made millions on the first Matrix, and then he gave the money on the crew. Everybody was a millionaire.
Yeah,
You know,
I just recently seen something about
or
him.
like I
I
think I
forgot
said,
what it was,
yeah.
but
Well, I
the
keep
guy's just a
seeing.
standout freaking. He's the epitome of human
Yeah.
decency in a
Conan
sense.
asks him. He goes, Keanu, what do you think happens when we die? And everybody on it was like their interview or whatnot. I've just seen this pops up on Facebook, and he looks, and everybody starts, oh, what's he gonna say? What's he gonna say? And he goes, I think the people, our loved ones, will miss us. Or he says something like, you could see it on there, and it's like boom, and it's like wow,
Gut punch.
and it's like he's not trying to sound like this epic, but what he says,
He's epic. He's
it's
John
epic.
Wick.
He killed a
He's
man with a
Neo.
pencil.
He's
3
Neo.
people with a pencil. I can't wait for Wick 4 to come out. I'm all on.
Yeah. Basically, by creating, this persona of giving opposed to receiving, when you give, you're gonna get back. Is kind of the idea of that. When you create a support system, you're gonna get that support system back, and not only that, you're gonna gain great friendships, great relationships, and who knows, the sky is the limit when you put yourself around that support system, which is going to be a episode coming up, your circle, who to keep in the circle, how to stay successful, kind of deal, and you don't have to be rich to give. Giving doesn't necessarily mean giving more money. Doesn't necessarily mean giving materialistic things. It's not like, hey man, we're doing this podcast, you're doing a great job, here's a Ferrari, you know what I mean? I couldn't afford one if I wanted, but I would get you a neon maybe.
I would sell the Ferrari for a pickup.
But it doesn't necessarily mean possessions or money. It could mean just give someone like you were saying earlier, give someone the understanding that you understand that they're in a bad place right now.
Give them an ear.
Give them an ear or a shoulder to lean on. Give advice. Something as stupid as holding a door open for somebody could change their whole day. They seen whatever they seen on the news and they got pissed off, right? But here comes this dude. He's holding the door open for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, damn, that dude just gave me a freaking, You didn't have to do that. Put your damn shopping cart back.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Shop on one side.
But compliments, giving compliments. Credit where credit's due. People have seemed to forget about empathy these days, and it's just, not everybody, but the empathy is lackluster.
I do for me personally, with that and being decent, it's just something that I sometimes struggle with. I give people when I'm out and about doing what I'm doing, trying to get ideas for the podcast or seeing other business ventures. Ever since Warren said you need 7 sources of income to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
That's been my goal.
Well, it's funny you say that because as I'm going into Facebook and I'm going into looking at, how our podcast is doing and the numbers are coming in, I go into my pages and throughout the years of Facebook, I've got my painting page, I've got my DJ page, I got my personal page, I started a hip hop page, I started the Forge page, like I got all these pages, like all aspirations of doing something different. Like again, you got to have those 7 different incomes, right? You got to start doing different things, man. You can't do the 9-to-5 thing every day and expect different results. It's not going to happen.
No. But I'm looking into that passive income, but as well, that's another thing we have to look into. But my thing is, I give 3 shots, okay? 3 random people, whoever it is. I bite my tongue mostly because my parents are still alive and I don't want to shame them. Okay, we joke around. God help this world when they finally do pass. It's on. I'm going full Conan, but I give 3 chances where I bite my tongue and I don't say anything. And after the 3rd, that's when I start acting wild. I start telling people exactly what I'm feeling in a colorful, polite, make people open their eyes and stop focusing on themselves. That there's a whole world out there. There's more people than just you, and you need to take consideration of others.
Human decency.
Yeah, and it's just, and my mother's like, you can't say. I was like, no, yes, I can.
So you give 3 shots.
Okay, like let me give a
Muhammad
quick
Ali
example.
gives 3 shots. He gives the shot to the. He hits the face. They
1,
hit the
2.
floor. The ambulance hits 80.
There you go.
I just had a reference. We got Muhammad Ali in the
But
background.
like some lady. All right, we do have a pandemic going on. I was doing some grocery shopping for lunch, lunch, and I was at the chicken, and she creeps right up on me. So I move over, and she creeps right up on me. And I move over, and she creeps right on me. I go, oh.
During a pandemic?
Yeah, at the store. And I say, oh, excuse me, I must, and I'm sad. Like I said, I give my 3. She just happened to get it all 3 times. I said, excuse me, I must be in your fucking way.
Whoa. Wow,
I said,
man.
I was like, excuse me if you need to get something while I'm standing right here trying to shop for 15 seconds, not even.
So that leaves me at my final point of...
I did. Yo, Ma, you can't say that. No, everybody's around me clapping. Yeah, thank you.
But that leaves me at my final note.
Okay.
What is the one rule that we're... Probably the first rule we're taught, but as humans we seem to forget?
First rule we're taught, but as humans we forget. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah, the golden rule, right?
Yeah. Is that the golden? I thought no, that's not the golden rule. Is the one with the gold makes the rules.
No. Well,
that's the. I think
it was dubbed the golden rule. At least I was taught that. I could be wrong. You could be wrong. Who knows? But,
I don't know.
But the point of the matter is as adults, I feel like people shed that idea.
Mm-hmm.
They forget about it, and
because they got that greed in there.
Exactly.
And it's like, I'm not going to be decent. I'm going to step on.
Like you said about that lady.
Yeah.
Maybe she likes being treated like that. Or she just forgot the concept of what I like this dude hugging up on me when I'm at the,
It's like, no. Well, I know, and I've been told that there are certain Wegmans they're pickup Wegmans. But this lady wasn't trying to pick up on me.
Mm-hmm.
She was just like, no, this is Sparta. Boom. It's like, come on. I'm trying to be a decent human over here.
All right. So we have a Facebook page now. You go check us out. Just search up in the search bar, Forge Podcast. You'll see it come up.
Yep.
We'll post links to the videos. I've been posting inspirational quotes and things of that nature.
Got the logo.
Something to get you through that day. Yeah, there's a good logo too. Good work, man.
Yeah, thank you.
We are looking again into doing interviews very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So look out for those. We got some pretty interesting characters in line.
And going live so that the audience can interact with us.
Yeah, man. We need some feedback.
Yeah.
We are getting a little bit of feedback.
You're making me feel like I'm alone.
You know what? It doesn't matter. Because
that's right.
To be honest with you, somebody seen some positivity in us and seen that we were doing the right thing.
Awesome.
We didn't need that. Like, thank you, Danny.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate you, man. And you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on Anchor.
Yeah.
We sponsor Anchor. You can hear our commercial in the beginning of our Spotify.
We might even do a Forge. I'm thinking I might do a Forge Instagram too.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know about Twitter.
We want to get to the point where if you are a business owner, whether it be local for us, Rochester, New York, or you got some kind of computer online business where you're selling merch or anything like that, we want to plug you guys. The first few episodes where people, if they want to be plugged, we're going to do free of charge. But once we get an abundance of people coming in, if you want to plug on our show, we haven't worked out the fees and stuff like that, but we would be happy to see you flourish, and as long as what you do is reputable and you're not ripping people off and you're just looking to take your entrepreneurship to another level, we want to plug you. We have an audience. I can't tell you exactly how large it is, but you never know. That's kind of giving.
I haven't checked the numbers.
That's us giving. Yet. That's us giving and being decent human beings to you, because we want to see you guys flourish.
That's right.
We're approaching.
When we flourish, you flourish.
Exactly, and that's the name of the game of our podcast. I have to mention, nice mohawk, bro.
Thank you. I did it. My son was looking at me. He goes, "Oh, that's terrible. You don't look pretty." I go, Yes, I do. I said, but I did it mostly because I've been seeing a lot on Facebook recently or other apps, whatever, that like the children that are go through that don't have any hair or the teenagers, the
Yeah.
teenage girls mostly, because guys we don't care. But and I did it because we should be grateful for what we have. I mean, these kids that are should not be going through it. I'm sorry, I know, but we should already have a cure for anything that has to do with little kids, whatever diseases.
Absolutely.
My brother-in-law is actually a scientist that works on that up in Boston. God bless him. But so I took off some of my hair. I wanted to change anyways, and just to bring retrospect and to bring them back into that. We need to. Yes, there's a lot of shit going on, and we got COVID going on. That's the big pusher. We got to fix that, but not to forget that these little kids, that our prayers are with them, that they're strong as hell with what they're going through. It's insane.
Yeah.
That like the everything that they're putting that's put into their bodies, and they really sometimes kept away from their families because their families have to work. There's a lot of places that do with the cancer and all that the families don't have to pay. St. Jude's is in Rochester that we do, and it's great things. But I was decided, I can give up my hair for a little bit. It doesn't matter. I look good, partially bald, anyways. But
to me, it projects the fact that of how many people would be afraid to give themselves that haircut.
Yeah, out of fear of what somebody else would say.
How many people are feared to take that next step, that leap? You know what I mean? And he portrayed it in, hey, I wanted to change. And look at me already since we've started this podcast. I've already changed a few things about myself.
Awesome.
I'm trying to practice what we preach here. This isn't just. I'm not just spewing this shit
to try to get money.
Yeah. Not at all. Because what we've brought in is very minute.
We are these
for the
people,
time that we've put into this.
We are these people you see here in real life.
Yep. And we want to lift you guys up. And
I could never be that. I could never sit and act like I've heard things over here about this show and that show and this person, that person. I can never act one way, and then when you see me in person, I'm completely different.
Yeah.
I tell people when I meet you, I'm an asshole. I do, and they look at me funny. I go, but I'm the asshole you're gonna want as a friend. Because I don't sugarcoat. I do have problems with tact.
You can say you're an asshole, but deep down, this guy checked on me about 4 or 5 times throughout the time I had COVID, and I appreciate you, asking about the family and whatnot. It just shows me that you gave.
Yes, I care.
You care. So we're approaching an hour and 40 minutes. So thanks for those
yes.
Thanks for those who bared with us in this long episode. I hope you guys were able to pluck some information. Go check out that book. It's amazing so far, and I'm only halfway through it.
You can hit us with that quote?
Yeah, I am.
Just before
but as I read more and more books, I'm going to recommend, and if you guys can, go on our Forge account and recommend me a book to read. Recommend something that maybe have changed something in your lifestyle. I took to Facebook and my personal page, and I asked a few people, and they some of the same responses came up. So I'm gonna target those books first.
Well, speaking of books, I know I wrote a book. I know I've talked to DJ about it.
Is it in that notebook or the other one at home?
It's in the other one. It's in the bigger notebook at home. All I have to do is transfer from paper to my laptop and then send it out. And it was actually precursor to starting the podcast. I wrote the book a few months, probably 8 months before I started the podcast. But I can squash any and all obstacles, reasons, whys, this, that, no. This book can squash. And there's an expert at the end, I'm not going to tell you, but it opens up for book 2, which I've already got ideas for. So I'm doing that on top of that. And
he stays true to this because he texts me one morning, he's like, hey, did you take that run yet? I go, no, I haven't. And he goes, excuses.
No, that was a couple days after he found out about the Rona.
Yeah.
Like, did you go for that run? No, I'm not feeling it. Excuses, dude. I don't want to hear it.
But see, instead of running, I read.
There
so,
you go.
I improved that much, maybe not to the scale where other people notice it. I improved myself.
There you go.
I already feel smarter from what I've read, and I've just started.
There you go.
And I just started.
Yeah.
And some of this stuff is going to help me along my journey of improvement, and that's what we're here to do, man.
Influence you to be
Be great like him. Be great like him.
Yeah.
That's what we'd like to see.
And like him on the shirt.
Yep, and this guy.
Yep.
Same guy. But hit him with the email, and I'll hit you with the quote for next week.
Yes. Choose Your Destiny 2.0 at gmail.com.
And once again, you can see us get us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
Apple Pie.
Apple Pie,
Spotify, Apple Pie.
Spotify, YouTube, and we will be expanding those platforms as well.
I want to be everywhere.
So here's the quote we're going to leave you with. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. By Tim Notke. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. All right, guys, that's our podcast for this week. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for all our listeners, our subscribers. We will see you next week.
Tune in later.
Deuces.